Thank you so much for always sprinkling this out into social media pages. So if you're just joining, I was just watching, silently watching because I was really busy, you guys. I was silently watching the Pretty Little Things, and that was painting, and just the soothing voice, this how soothing her voice is, just so it draws me to her painting. By the way, if you like painting, if you like crafting of many different medias, type of media, then just go ahead and check out his Girls Designs. Check out, I'm sorry, Craft from the Clock, which is a wonderful group of crafters where you're going to find an amazing amount of talent. And I see Miss Cindy from Create with Cindy's Creations in the house. Um, and I'm going. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me just show you and give you to start getting to see what we're going to be using today. And here are some of the things. Now I'm going to show you. I have a very a very talented aunt in my mother's sister that lives in Colombia. And the last time that my mother was there, which was for Christmas and New Year's, I had my aunt order up some of the things that she makes. I'm gonna go ahead and show you some of the incredible talent that she has done. Look at these doilies, and she was able to make all of these, you all, within just a matter of like 2 or 3 days. Have so much more. All of this she was able to do it within a few days. So I'm going to be using some of these today. So if you guys, you probably have a lot more easy way to get your hands on some of these, then by all means, let's go ahead and use them today. It's so very romantic. With Valentine's Day being very close by, it's a very romantic and thoughtful gift. Not only that, but it also makes a wonderful Mother's Day present. It also makes a very beautiful present overall at any time, especially if you want to honor one of those members in your family or loved ones. So if you have some of those kind of creations from, like, from your mom or grandmother has passed away, then this is a great way to honor. Hello to Vicky and hello to Cynthia. Um, she does beautiful work. Yes, amen. She definitely does. Let me go ahead and pop up our friends here on YouTube, because I always have a really hard time on seeing the comments there, and because they're very small. All right, so go ahead and let's say hello. Hi V, how are you, my wonderful friend? Yes, you use those Dollar Tree, you use doilies in a slow stitching craft. It is very relaxing. You're right, you're correct. Thank you for all the hearts over on YouTube. So look how beautiful they are, guys. They're beautiful little button ones. So we're going to be using all of these today, as I said. Now, if you cannot get your hands on doilies like this, they also, if you go to vintage stores, but also think about going to those thrift stores and go ahead and gather up, and don't just look for doilies, but also look for old ripped, sometimes those what do you call that, tablecloths, that, or some type of older kind of like vintage quilts that sometimes are stained, sometimes are ripped on one end, but you can still use the rest of it. So think about those kind of things. Sometimes we'll find them in skirts. So think about different ways, places that you could use them. Look at this one. They are just absolutely stunning. So we're going to go ahead and use this. I'm going to honor my aunt today, Chicky, and then go ahead and use those. So I'm not sure which ones we're going to use today. And as I said, we're going to treat them as if they were gold, because to me they are. To me they are. She did them some. Look at these. She makes them. And hello, Linda. How are you, friend? And Kathleen. She make them looking like snowflakes. You see that? Some of them look like little snowflakes. So, and she also makes some other ones in different colors. So look at these are kind of like tan ones. So see that little more in comparison to this one. You see, I'm not sure if you could see the difference in color with the lighting, but they are. One is white and the other one is more of a tannish color. All right, so let's go ahead and put those to the side. And by the way, if you want to go ahead and cut them, I want to give you a tip. If you want to go ahead and cut them, hi, Miss Kim from Craft Crazy Company. How are you, my friend? If you want to cut them, just go ahead. I went ahead and previously used part of this one. This is one that my mother had done. And I went ahead and did some, a coat of Mod Podge, let it dry. And now look how stiff it is. It's pretty stiff. Not only that, but it will be a good way to cut them. Use them to what, you know, however you desire to use them, and they will not lose their shape. It will not unramble. You know, it will not lose their shape. So let's go ahead and see how we could just fairly quickly go ahead and use something like this from the Dollar Tree. Now, this oval, I'm sorry, not oval, but this rounded arched frames, they're now one of those things that are just everybody is using in their designs. It goes anywhere from contemporary, usually mostly with contemporary decor, but we could also use them in a vintage style. So that's what we're going to do. All right. How are you, Miss Diane? And did I say hello, Rhonda? Did I say hello to you? And she's saying hello to everyone. Thank you so much, you guys. All right, so the first things first, we're going to go ahead and take the backing off. And that is the one thing that we need to do. We need to remove the backing because we're going to be giving, if you want to talk about giving this a little bit more of a vintage look, then we're going to go ahead and remove that plastic, you know, recently come out of the woodworks, that recently come out of the store kind of look. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Happy Wednesday to you, you guys. You know what I was making for dinner today, and it takes a long time. I was making what's called here is empanadas, which is the stuffed, you know, kind of like they look like half, no, like a half crescent moon. I was making that for dinner today, and that usually it requires an extra way, because you got to cook them. It's a small batch at a time, so it takes extra cooking time and it takes extra cleaning time. All right, so let's go ahead and first things first, we're going to go ahead and get this painted just very lightly. I'm not expecting to remove this, you know, very light color to it. We actually want to be able to create some type of contrast to the way to the doilies. So give me 1 second and I'll get my different paints. All right. So how was your Wednesday, you all? How's your Wednesday? All right, so from Dixie Belle, I have here Spanish Moss is the name of this one. Now, excuse me when I open it because when I purchased it, to be honest with you, I have probably used it a handful of times. So it's going to be required a little bit more stirring. So yes, it is a perfect frame for a rustic farmhouse look. You're right. Now, Dixie Belle paints, I don't use a lot of the Dixie Belle paint, and not because of anything wrong with the paints. The paints are wonderful. It's just that I don't have the budget to get a little bit more expensive paint. So to me, this is going to feel like luxury today. As you know, some of these this kind of size paints will go, you know, about $20. So correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah. But anyways, I have not used this one, as you could tell, too many times. So I'm actually glad that it's a little bit more on the thicker side, and that is because it's going to not be so runny and help me to kind of like do what I want to do, which is more of a dabbing or you know, technique with this one. Let me go ahead in a second and I'll try to get a bigger brush just so that I could be able to cover a little bit more surface with it. So $14.95. Thank you. $14.95. So it's been but they're the wonderful paints. Don't get me wrong, they're absolutely wonderful paints. So look at this. This one is called Spanish moss, and it has more of that, stone color look. So I think it's going to look wonderful once we start applying the doilies and be able to give them a nice contrast between them two. So I see Akankasha. Forgive me. Hello, how are you? I cannot really tell the rest of the name on your profile, but welcome. If you are watching for the first time here on YouTube, I welcome you, but I also want to let you know to please subscribe, so that way you could be able to get notifications when I come live, which is my schedule, honestly, is all over the place. So for this week, this is my second and last time coming on for this week. So just want to let you know. So here we go. What do you think of the color? It's very neutral. To be honest with you, it's one of those colors that I wish that I had a wall in my house painted this color. It is very neutral, but like soothing kind of neutral. Again, it's called Spanish Moss by Dixie Belle. Look at that. And look at how quickly now this frame looks completely different from the plastic look that he originally had. Remember, I just purchased this one from the Dollar Tree. Nothing that's gonna break the budget, right? All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and put it down. And look what incredible coverage it has. I mean, talking about the paint, incredible coverage that it has with just one coat of paint. When you're talking about that plastic, hard plastic from the Dollar Tree, you know how those are. So give it a nice coverage on the first time application, on the first coat of paint. That just speaks really nicely about the paint. All right, so I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to go ahead and cover that. And there is something that we're going to do to the inside of the frame. So I want to make sure that you are aware of it. So don't just dismiss my this episode just by saying, oh, she's going to go ahead and put doilies on it. No. There's some more happening. Something more else happening. All right. Thank you, Shauna. How are you? I'm doing well. It's been a long day, but I've been doing well. I'm going to go ahead and say hello also to Aletta. How are you, my friend? Where are you watching from? And, Miss Linda. Rima is in the house. It's from Circle. Oh, goodness. Linda, forgive me. I always butcher your the name of your page. Please tell us. Circle Hearts Creations. Did I get it right? Yes. Usually only needs one color paint. That's exactly how it was. You made beef roast. Beef bottom roast. Ooh, how long was it out? 4 hours. Came out banging. Awesome. Yay! I made the reason why I made empanadas, I'm going to tell you what, is because I had some beef stew that I had made over the weekend, and my family is not very fond. I love beef stew. Give it to me the first day, the second day, the third day, I'll be eating beef stew. I love beef stew, but my family is not fond of having leftover beef stew. I'm like, that's when it tastes better. Tell me you're not, right? You're from Texas. I heard you guys are finally getting some nice warm weather. And Miss Amanda Jennings, how are you, friend? So anyway, so my family is not too fond of leftover beef stew. Listen, I think, right? Who is with me to say that, that's when it starts tasting a lot better. That's when beef stew starts tasting, to me, that's when it starts tasting a lot better, when those flavors marinate, in the pot. It's been left for days and there, and just marinates in the pot, and those colors kind of flavors kind of married into each other. I think that's when the best taste of beef stew, when you get the best taste of the beef stew, right? I think, to me, that's when you get it the best. Anyways, well, they don't think like I do. They do not agree. So I will not put away or get, have a good beef stew go to waste. So I had to, right, paint the hands, the core. Thank you for being here, friends. Make sure that we are following our friends. Which, speaking of that, let me just go ahead and go on a side note. Craft on the Clock, we have had many of new crafters, and I am, pow myself, because I have not gone to, remember I said I was gone for 2 weeks, and I am catching up on all of the wonderful news. So I have to make sure that I'm following every single one. So, side note to me. Anyways, so I was not going to get a good beef stew away. So what do? I went ahead and shredded it. I crushed up my potatoes and my carrots, and make like a nice thick, shred up the meat, and that becomes the inside of the empanadas. Now, empanadas, in case you don't know, that's not, something you're familiar with. It's in Spanish kind of corn cake that looks like a half moon, and sometimes coming from the oven, but most times they are fried. So, anyways, so you kind of lay it flat like a corn cake, like a big bowl pancake like this. You made it flat. You make the masa real flat, and then you put. I made them out of beef, and so you put that in there. Kind of fold them over halfway, becomes, and you shape them up to look like a half moon. Fry them, and they are just delicious. These things are delicious. Hi, Cheryl. How are you, friend? Welcome. I know that you come to church, so she just came back from church. All right, so now this is it, you guys. I'm gonna let it cool just a little bit more. And we're going to do a little bit of stressing. So in the meantime, I'm just gonna put it on the side. Anyways, let me go ahead and continue talking about the beef stew. So the what I did with that afterwards, let me go ahead and get in something new here so that I don't get paint on my backing. So I'm going to push that to the side. Let me go ahead and get a new paper towel. So anyways, I went ahead and did that, and my daughter doesn't like the ones that are made out of beef, so she gets the one that is made of cheese. So, so did that. I was like, good girl. And they're delicious. So now everybody eats eat like 3 of them, and then my husband has some for lunch, and I get some for lunch, and you know how it goes. So it was a lot of cooking. All right, so inside of this, I have this. It's a 4x6 frame. Now this 4x6 frame is going to, first of all, get a cardboard, because there's no cardboard. This is all it gives you. And so he's gonna get a cardboard. I'm sorry, not a cardboard, cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead and get a white one right here. And this is now going to be cut to the size of this 4x6. And now this is going to be my actual backdrop inside. Let me go ahead and get my scissors. It's kind of a good girl putting things away the last time. Not all of them, because I still have napkins around. So, yes, leftovers and beef stew are the best. The best. So, anyways, the recent comment here about roast beef, it just made me think of that. Anyways, so, all right, so here we go. Now, what are we going to do inside of this? So now I'm going to go ahead and put it this way. So now I'm going to have, this is going to be the inside of it. So I've been having a love for all things black, white, and blue. Why not? Because they all look I think white and blue is one of those collections, one of those things that just looks very, very, very old, very beautiful. But, and that's why I have them all around. And I keep going back and forth thinking, what should I do to the inside of this? And I thought at the beginning, I'm like, well, maybe I perhaps go ahead and do some of this, you know, inside. But then I'm looking at the color, and I'm like, that's not going to fly. Hi, Janet. How are you, friend? Thank you for your comments and your messages on my Facebook page. So I have this one right here, and that is going to look lovely inside. So we're going to go ahead and cover this cardstock, which is going to be a 4x6 size. And we're going to do this. We're going to go ahead and glue this inside here. And this is going to be what's going to be the inside of this beautiful little frame. Okay. So anything else going on? You all, to be honest with you, my heart has been really heavy in going out to what's happening to these this lady, what is it, Savannah Nancy, goodness, I don't want to butcher her last name. I'm kind of taking a glue stick just to glue Savannah Gothrick. I don't want to butcher her last name. But anyways, the one from NBC News, and oh goodness, it's like your heart goes out. I mean, as a daughter, I think about as a daughter having my mother not in her 70s. My mother's not in her 70s yet, but you know, or in her 80s. But you know, but just think about us, the side of a daughter. Hi, Carol, and I just like, oh, my heart goes out to them. So, but anyways, I've been listening to that, some of the things. All right, so I'm not going to need this anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and just put it on the side as a backing in case I ever need it. But that's going to go on there. Now, besides this, what's going to be going on there is a beautiful little heart. So allow me to just get it over on this side, because that I did not take out because I knew that I have it. And I'm like, you know, I have it. I know that I have it. Hold on. And I did not get it out. Now watch me just screw it up and not really find it. That's what usually happens in my world. We do have a little flower, but I thought I had a little heart because I recently put them in here. There we go. We do have a little heart. We do. This one is perfect. I think this is the size that I'm looking. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do this one. And I'm going to leave the hole on there. That this is just a regular, is black, but I'm going to, we're going to do other things with it. In addition to this, I think this is going to look lovely inside. I think it's going to be a nice framing for my frame. All right. So in addition to this, give me 1 second and I get it out. So this thing has so many drawers that I forget. Here it is, which one it is that I'm in need of. All right, so we're going to use a little thing of a key and a keyhole. And that's what we're going to be using today. Now, I purchased this set of keys just like this. And it's a whole, look at a beautiful collection of keys. But this one I did purchase it through in Amazon some time back. So we're going to go ahead, being that we're going to do a little something with the heart. Now, this is not a Valentine's Day per se craft. However, it could be easily be used as a Valentine's Day. It could be used as a Mother's Day. It could be used as any kind of anything kind of time gift. So not only that, but I think it's very special if you have something, the kind of doilies that we're going to be using with us is very special if you have something that are just very meaningful to you. So that's what I'm gonna do. Now this set, if you find things like that, you know, just keys, vintage keys for crafting. That's what I went ahead and did. Now they do not come with a keyhole. However, I did go to Tim Holtz. It's a whole has a whole thing of keyholes, and as you could see, these were the last two that were left. So just want to let you know that that is where this is coming from. Um, let's see, Guthrie. Thank you so much, B. That is the name that I was looking for, Savannah Guthrie. And you know, it's one thing when you guys listen to it. It's like when you're trying to re-say the name. All right, so let's go ahead and work on this. Now this is going to be the inside, as I said, of my frame. So I would love to use this one in black, but I think it's going to look a lot more beautiful. Hi Heidi, probably Heidi. Is that Lisa's Pretty Little Things? I was just talking about your soothing voice. Love your painting. I was there watching, but not commenting. So I apologize for not commenting, but I just love your painting and your beautiful voice. So if you guys are wondering what on earth am I talking about, make sure you go to Lisa's Pretty Little Things on Facebook. That is Liesa. Okay, that's how you're gonna spell her name. All right, so make sure that you check her out and yeah, and give her and give her your view. I'm going to just stain this, and I was thinking that perhaps I have my stain and I don't see it, so give me 1 second. Hold on, because I just don't see. All right, hold on, where is it? Awful. Hold on a second, you guys. Don't see it. I usually have my buffing thing round. All right, so may have moved it. My little stainer. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just go ahead and go the second another route, and I'm going to go ahead and use my Rub 'n Buff. Give me 1 second, and we'll just use it with a little brass color of Rub 'n Buff, because I don't see my brown antique color wax. All right, so this one is going to do today. I'm going to use the brass color of Rub 'n Buff to just get to my, kind of like this, not quite the desired look. I wanted to do this a little bit less in your face, but that's okay. The idea is that I just want this to look a little vintage, which is kind of weird because I don't do a lot of vintagey items. This sweet life of Leah. How are you? I haven't seen you, friend, in many days, and I'm so glad that you are here and that you're back in our YouTube friends world. Carol, friend, how are you? Carol T Studio 5 and DIYs. I love seeing your crafts. I love it when you visit. Mara is also here. How are you? How's your mama? I know you have been. You post up her how she's doing is always wonderful. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put this right on here. I'm going to make sure that I'm keeping up with my time. And so we have about 10 minutes. So this is going to go right on directly on here. In addition to this, before I move on and place it on there, I'm going to now go ahead and get a little bit of the gold Rub 'n Buff. And we're just going to just do the edges. This is not going to be a very goldy kind of product at all, but we're just gonna go ahead and light up or lighten up the edges. Now, other ways that you perhaps, if you have the materials that you could do this with the heart, is if you have some type of other pink, you could do a crackle effect on this beautiful heart. That would have been also very beautiful on there. So, and I'm just going to go ahead and just rub that off a little bit, but it lightens up a little bit and it gives a little different look to our heart. All right, so this is what I have. As you could see, has a little bit of variation of the light on the edges and the darker on the inside, which of course could be done also with black and white when it comes to just different stains, right? All right. So this is going to go right in here in the middle. But before that, remember, we have our doilies that we're going to showcase. So here, where are my doilies? Here they go. I put them on here. So the reason why I did not cover it here, you're going to see her this week. Oh, good. Good. I'm sure that's one of her favorite times. I think about... makes me think of my grandmother, who can't believe she's been in heaven for November, December, January. It's been almost 4 months in heaven. So sinking away, which is probably the way I think about it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put this, have a little sweet little doily that we're going to cover that, and that's going to be on the middle of that. Let me just go ahead and think about which one I'm going to use. And look at that, how beautiful, you all, that's going to look. I'm going to make sure that you guys can see this. See that? All right, so let's go ahead and put this baby together. And first things first, I'm going to go ahead and finish up my my little frame. I think that is we need to do that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of a lighter antique parchment, and we're going to do that really, really carefully, just only on the edges. So I want to go ahead and carefully do that. So to do this today, I'm going to just go ahead and take my spatula, and I'm going to, doesn't seem that long, yeah. I'm going to take my spatula. I'm going to go directly right on the edges, just like that, just to kind of highlight some of the, just to highlight the arch. So I'm just going directly with my spatula, and that's going to make sure that don't put it in the crevice. And to be in reality, I kind of want more of the arch shape to be highlighted. Also, the reason why I'm not going to put it directly into the crevice, you guys, is because I want it to stay mostly dark in color when it comes to the arch. And the reason why is because I think it's going to make a big difference once I add my doilies. I think you may differ, and according to how vintage your your likings are. There we go. So I just went ahead and just did a little tiny bit of highlight on there, not too much. I want it to stay mostly in the darker tone. All right, now if we really want, I could go ahead and get a dry brush, a small dry brush. I could just go ahead and just bring it out a little bit. If I wanted to smooth it out, if I kind of wanted to even it out more or less, I could just go ahead and get a little brush and kind of just, you know, sprinkle it around. Anyways, the whole idea is not so much of the treatment or how much I do on the frame. The idea is what's going to adorn it. So that's where I want to spend most of my time. All right, so I'm going to put this back. Now I am going to use my glass, but I'm going to put my glass on the back. Just like this. So the glass is going to come to the back of this, and it's going to be using it. I'm only going to use it, honestly, as a, to keep things perhaps more of a, how can I say, just want to keep it more on the, keep things together or steady kind of way. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and put my backing. Now remember, this is a Dollar Tree frame, so that's why I'm, you know, don't expect this to be Hobby Lobby kind of material or you know, kind of quality, or kind of like a home goods kind of frame. It's not, so it's a little more fragile. So, but you're getting what you pay for. Okay, so there it is. See how simple, look like a neutral. We're going to keep it neutral. All right, so now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and try to find, now this is a trick that I learned from my daughter, and she's an art student. She says to just, when you're going to mount things, this is what she learned from her art teacher. She said to just mount it. If you're going to be using a frame, you're going to go a little bit higher. I did not know that. I always center my things, but she says that you're gonna go, that her teacher wants her to do things a little bit higher and leave more space on the bottom, and that is because it has something to do with the eye, that your eye kind of scans from the top to the bottom. So you know, you want it to look always a little higher when you're framing things, you're putting things inside a frame. That's new to me. I'm learning something new. So I'll pass it down to you. All right, hold on a second. I went a little bit too harsh on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and get that covered. Too much white. There. So, you know, have you heard of that tip? It was new to me, honestly. It was very new to me. So I wanted to just pass it down. So I'm going to try to, oh, I just put my finger directly on the glue. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put it a little higher, instead of just being directly centered, as I usually would have done. Okay. Hi, Crafting with Shelly Designs. How are you, friend? Thank you. It looks like metal, doesn't it? So here we go. All right, so here we go. Now we're going to do, again, we're going to go ahead and do the doily. I'm going to use the doily that has a hole in the middle, and I'm going to put that directly right on there. Go ahead and put that in there. And that one, I am going to center up into the heart. This is how it looks. Now, on top of that, we're going to use our keyhole. Usually, hot glue does not like metal. Usually does not, but being that it's going to be glued onto fabric, which is in this case is going to be the cotton thread, then it's going to love it. I'm going to put the key on the bottom, and this is where I kind of want to just make sure that I listen to what I just said. So I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of E6000 just to glue that little part, because, as I said, does not like metal. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of the E6000, and I'm going to put on a separate, not on top of it, but next to it, I'm going to put some hot glue to just make sure that both of them together help to adhere, make this adhere well. I'm going to put it right there on the bottom. There. Just like that. And then we're going to use the smaller kind of doilies all around, and that's going to look And we're going to use them to kind of adorn all around this sweet little. And I'm going to use the two different colors in this space. Now, if you're wondering, if you did not get here on time enough to know where I got these were done in Colombia by my aunt. So apologize. I wish that I could give you where to get them, but okay. So I'm going to use the bigger one right here on the bottom. And you could, by all means, just leave that on, you know, you don't have to put extras. But I do want it. I do want it. And the eye also loves things in odd numbers. So we're going to leave a little set of 3 right here. But besides that, of course, we could take it up a notch by just adding some pearls. You could take it up a notch by doing small little flowers on there. So that will be completely up to you. In my case, I want to see it with pearls. And I do have these beautiful pearls that are kind of like in this grayish color. And I also have these pearls that look a little bit more like the inside paper, which is that champagne color. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use the champagne color one. And I am going to give it a nice inside. And now, let me know what you would have done if you had just left it alone, which is the inside of it, or add other embellishments as I did. And look how beautiful and simple that looks. As I said, you could have done a little bit of a bow there in the middle, roll it out. You could have just left it just very simple with the inside only. So that would be, that's a all by choice and by likes. So, but anyways, this was my little craft for today. You're going to be going to the next presenter here on Craft from the Clock. And by the way, I apologize, I did not take pictures of the last craft that I did. And so the embellishments are wonderful. Oh, thank you. How's the house coming on? I'll stick around and I'll let you know. All right. So thank you so much. The doilies are beautiful. Yes, they're from my aunt in Colombia, Tia Chiqui. So there it is. Let me know, what do you think about the edges? Is that enough? Is should have just gone a little bit more? But you know, that is, I think it's very soft. I think it will make, if you have these doilies that were have perhaps gifted or passed down from a very special someone, then I think this would be a really nice way to honor them. All right, Mother's Day gift, there it is. Think about it. And or Valentine's Day, if you still have nothing in mind. All right, may God bless you, may God keep you, make his face shine upon you, may God grant you his peace. Don't forget to also check out my YouTube channel. I'm also on TikTok, and I'm also on Instagram under His Gross Designs. I was honored by your presence today. May God bless you. May God keep you. Make his face shine upon you. May God grant you his peace. I will see you next week. But you could always stay in touch with the stories and the posts here on this social media page. Love you all. Adios. Well, for those that are staying here on YouTube, so my house is going. We just finally got hold on a second. Oh, we finally got, hold on, this is finally got the estimate on to how much it was going to cost to rebuild all of this, putting, you know, this Humpty Dumpty, you know, broken house right now, Humpty Dumpty egg, you know, that is shattered, put it back together again, and the magic number is $66,000. So that is going to, now we are signing a certificate of loss for our insurance. and that needs to get notarized. It's going to get notarized on Friday, and then we're going now to the insurance company with this wonderful claim, and let's see how much of that $66,000 we'll get to see to put this Humpty Dumpty house together again. That is where we are right now when it comes to the house. But in the meantime, everything is upside down. I did get two because the china cabinet, it's a goner. Our china cabinet was full of mold on the bottom. I said, I wonder if I could find here the picture of our china cabinet. The china cabinet was full of mold. So because of that, let me see, September 25. I don't think I'm not sure if this links together. If this links to my pictures. So anyway, so because of that, I probably do. Because of that, then I do not have it. Hold on a second. All right. So because of that, we had to take, throw it away. So I might have it here. Hold on a second. January. This happened. Okay. I may not have it, you all. I may not have it. It doesn't sync to this. I have them on my phone. It's thought I see perhaps I could just pick them up here, but I do not have. But anyways, this is my china. This was my china cabinet right here. See that blue one right there? See, that was my china cabinet, and that is gone. It's full of mold on the bottom, and so it had to be thrown away. So I did pick up two side cabinets. So they were $50 each, which was wonderful buy, and they're all completely wood. And so that's the next thing. I need to buy a credenza or a buffet, however you would know it. So that's in the list of things to buy, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But I was told that we need to go ahead and get our air ducts cleaned out. So that's the next step that we need to do, is to get our air ducts cleaned out in our house, to get any residue or mold that and all the dust that had been collecting. But I'm not sure if I should just do it before or after the construction that is going to happen. Because after the construction and the drywall and the sanding and all of that, that's probably needs to be done again. So I'm not sure. Anyways, but that is where we stand. Thank you for asking. In the meantime, there's only so much my brain can take when it comes to the disorder, when it comes to living in a house upside down. And sometimes it's sad, sometimes it's upsetting, sometimes is you feel like you just want to wake up and go back to your normal life. And sometimes it's just very grateful for what is happening, because when you think about it, it's like, had the leak not happened, we would have been still stuck with the mold inside the house. I was getting sick back to back, you all, and the cat, when we spent over $1,200 in taking the cat to the doctors because he kept getting sick. We spent also Christmas time, our dog was also at the doctor's, with some upper respiratory infections. We didn't know. I have been getting sick back to back, with all of this. My son, my oldest, also, I didn't know. I didn't know anything. So, anything, if had the leak not happened, or we discovered the leak, we would have still been living in amongst all the mold, who knows. So, the Lord has says in his word that everything works together for good for those who love the Lord and are called according to his purposes. And I know that he who has started a good work in us will be able to complete it. And I know that there is nothing impossible for him. And, and the word says that not even a leaf from the tree moves if it's not by his hand, if it's not by his power. So we're trusting in God's word and trusting that however this gets resolved, um, it is to God's glory and by his doing and his allowing it to happen. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it up to there because it gets a little longer. So anyways, thanks for asking. God has his hand on me. Yes. Here it was $500 and I did mine after construction. Oh, was all done really? Wow. No, no $500. It's $66,000. Yeah. Anyways. Oh, yes, I did send you my address for the music sheet. I did. You need it again? Let me know. Just go ahead and message me. All right. May God bless you all. May God keep you guys. Don't forget to like and share and do all the wonderful, wonderful things that the algorithm loves. May his face shine upon you and may God grant you his peace. I really love spending time with you. Be my friend. Talk to you another time. All right. And the vents, yes. Oh, yours, yes. After the construction was all done, the vents. Okay, so yeah, so probably thinking the correct thing, right? Doing it afterwards. Got it. Yeah, I will be doing that. Doing it afterwards, not now, because otherwise I probably have to. About $500. Thanks for. Yeah, that's probably about how much it's gonna be. All right, love you guys. Bye.